Well, Jacques Nienaber and Razzie Erasmus have announced the Springbok team to play France in Paris on Sunday night. And in this video, I'm going to give you my reaction to that Springbok team. G'day and welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico, and it's great to have you with us. If you haven't been following my channel before, welcome. It's always nice to have new people here in our rugby community from across the world, and we're entering a fantastic weekend of rugby this weekend with the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup coming to us from France. So in this video, I thought I'd talk about that Springbok team announcement and just give you my thoughts around some of those selections. Quite interesting selection, this one. And of course, the Springbok selectors took a little bit of time giving us this team because they wanted to make sure they got the combinations right. And for me, there's a couple of surprises, but let's go through the team, shall we? Okay, so let's start off in the forwards and in the front row, and we've got Kitshoff, Bonname and Malherbe, and I think that's the best three in the front that South Africa could bring into this game. And of course, they've been missing Malcolm Marx now for some time, but I think this front row can do a really good job against France. Whether or not they can get the might over the top of the French forwards, I'm not too sure, but we'll have to wait and see. So a great front row for the Springboks. And then looking at their locks, they've got Etzebeth and Mostert. So they're going to be counting on those two getting a lot of line-out ball for the Springboks and trying to disrupt that French line-out. And if you watch my detailed review video of this game, you'll see that I picked the French to try and disrupt the Springboks line-out. And I think that's where they're going to go after ball from the Springboks. So Etzebeth and Mostert to start in the locking positions. And looking at the back three for the Springboks in the forwards, we've got Kilisi, of course, the captain. We've got Pieter Steph de Toy. And we've got Dwayne Vermeulen, and that's an interesting one for me. No Jasper Visa in this team. And I think this is a good back three for the Springboks. Pieter Steph de Toy's been playing fantastic throughout this tournament. In fact, he's been playing great rugby all year. Watched him closely in the Rugby Championship this year, and he was really on form. And of course, Sia has been playing really well since he came back into the fray after that horrendous knee injury. So I think the Springboks have got a good back three here. Whether or not they can take on the French in this department is going to be really interesting, because the French have got a massive back three in their forwards. So there we go. That's going to be the starting forwards for the Springboks. I know that all my Springboks supporters here on this channel are very confident in their forwards doing the job over France on Sunday. And I think it's going to be a tight battle. I really do. So we're going to have to see how they handle it. Now the next interesting part of the selection process has come in the split for the Springboks in this game. They've gone for a 5-3 split, 5 forwards, 3 backs, and the forward split is Dion Fourie, Oxnechet, Quagga Smith, Vincent Koch, and RG Schneemann, the beast Viking, coming in there. So really good bench in the forwards to come on for the Springboks. And for me, this is a really interesting split, 5-3. Obviously, the Springboks are going to want to have a little bit more coverage in the backs with Andre Pollard on the bench. And it's going to be interesting to see what style of game they play. And I think this gives an indication that the Springboks might be looking at using a little bit more of an open game against the French. Okay, let's move into the backs and have a look at who the Springboks have chosen in the back line. And at halfback, a surprise for me, starting Cobus Reinach. He's a good halfback and he's a running halfback. So this gives me another indication that the Springboks might be looking at taking it to the French, particularly up close. He's been very good, Cobus Reinach, in this tournament, in those darting runs away from the base of the scrum and from mauls. And he scored a lot of tries doing that in this particular tournament. Granted, it was against weaker teams, but he's got that skill set, and that's something that he'll bring to this game. I think Faf de Klerk is a better box kicker than Cobus Reinach, but that outweighs, I think, in terms of the ability that Reinach brings from the base of the scrum. So an interesting selection there for me. Let me know what you think. Should Faf de Klerk have started this game, or have they done the right thing with Comus Reiner. Your comments I will be reading, so check them out now. Okay, and then we have outside him Manny Lebok, and again a surprise for me. I thought Andre Pollard was going to start this game, but again this might be an indication that we're going to see South Africa open this game up. And of course Manny Lebok has the ability both with ball at foot and ball in hand, so we could see either a kicking or a running strategy depending on which way this game goes for the Springboks. So a really interesting decision for me was starting Manny Lebok in this game, and I'm really keen to see how this works out. I'm a huge Manny Lebok fan, by the way, so seeing him with ball in hand and trying to get these South African forwards and backs on the front foot, that's going to be exciting for me. And it also I think gives Manny Lebok a lot of confidence in his goal kicking, because getting the nod ahead of Andre Pollard is going to give him, I think, some self-belief, and he should be able to nail those goal kicks. So a good decision, a surprise decision for me, but let's see what Manny Lebok can bring to this game. And then on to the Springbok centres for this game, and it's Damian Dealandi and Jesse Kriel, as we probably expected. No surprise visit in this team by Lucano Arm, and I think we're too far into the tournament now to spring any big surprises. I think these two guys have been doing the job. I think they've both actually improved their level of play since the tournament got underway. And Damian Dealandi in particular is very, very good in this tournament, so expect him to do some big stuff. Jesse Kriel's going to have to be big in defence as well as his attacking options, but I think these two can have an opportunity to get through the French backline if they decide to open it up. So we'll see how Dealandi and Jesse Kriel go in the centres. And then looking at the wings for the Springboks, Cheslin Colby and Kurt Lee Arenza on the wings, and two try-scoring machines there if the Springboks decide to put the ball wide. But I'll tell you what, another strategy that they might be using with these two in particular is the high ball and recovering the high ball kicks. These two players are in particular very good at getting up off the ground and securing those high kicks. So I think if Cobus Reinhardt or Manny Lebok put up some high strategic kicks into the French defence, you can guarantee that Kurt Lee and Cheslin Colby are going to be competing for that ball, and I think that brings an interesting dynamic to this Springbok team. And then at fullback we've got Damien Willemse, and love this guy. I think he's a brilliant player and brings a lot more to the Springboks backline. So again, an attacking option there if the Springboks decide to go that way, and I can see him really having a big impact with the two wingers in the South African team. So a fantastic backline there, I think, for the Springboks. And then looking at the reserves on the bench and the backs for the Springboks, we've got Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard and Willie Leroux, and this is a really interesting selection for me. I didn't expect these guys to be on the bench, maybe Willie Leroux, but I definitely didn't expect to see Faf de Klerk and Andre Pollard on the bench to start this game. So this is an interesting strategy from Jacques Nienaber and Rassie Erasmus. I think they've got a plan, particularly for the second half of this game, and it could be all sorts of permutations that they're thinking about. And one that comes to mind, if Dupont only lasts 60 minutes in this game and they bring him off, then having a reserve halfback and a reserve number 10 to come on and change the nature of the game could be very, very interesting for the Springboks. So this one's got me on the edge of my seat. I don't know what the Springboks are going to try and do here. Maybe you've got an idea, so throw it out in the comments, because I'd love to hear from you and what you think the Springboks are doing with this particular strategy and having these three guys on the bench. So there we go, that's the Springboks selection for the game against France on Sunday at the Stade de France in Paris. It's going to be an amazing game. If you haven't watched my full preview in detail about this game, go and check it out now. It's on my channel, and you can see what I think across a whole lot of different criteria that I think is going to happen in this particular game. It's going to be too close to call it as far as I'm concerned. I'm only going with my gut, saying the French are going to win this game because of the passion of the crowd. It's a home nation. Antoine Dupont has never lost a game for France when he started the game. That's 20 tests in a row that they've won with him at the helm, and that's a huge statistic. So we talk about the winning streak of Ireland at the moment, but Antoine Dupont is on his own winning streak that I think has a lot of significance, particularly in front of his home crowd this weekend in Paris. So as usual, I look forward to your welcomed and respectful comments about this video. So drop me your notes on the selection of the Springboks team. Let me know what you think. I'm particularly interested to hear from rugby neutrals around the world what they think of this selection of the Springboks. Were you a little bit surprised to see that Faf de Klerk and Andre Pollard are not in the starting 15 for this particular game? Or what are your thoughts around that one? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, that's it. Plenty more videos coming from Inside Rugby with Mark about the Rugby World Cup. So stay tuned here, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your mates around the world, and let's get ready for a huge weekend of rugby in the Rugby World Cup. Until next time, stay well, stay safe everybody, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye for now.